My life university has been everything I've ever tried, and it hasn't worked. Because for us to figure out what we want, we need to know what we don't want. For us to figure out what works, as in what works for us, we need to discover what doesn't work for us.
Do you find decision making easy for you? I mean, this is something I talk about with people. I mean, certain people I work with or certain people I'm friends with in my personal life. I mean, they just find it impossible to make a decision, and I find it very easy. And my simplistic theory that I always apply is, when you need to make a decision, there's three possible outcomes. There's the very best outcome, the very worst outcome, and probably what is the most likely outcome. And as long as the most likely one is all right and the worst one isn't utterly catastrophic, just fucking get on with it.
Exactly.
And for me, it's that simple, because there aren't many decisions that are let's call it life and death. Whether that's personally life and death or business life and death. From a financial perspective, there's not many things you can't recover from.
And you're going to learn a lot in the process. If you have a failure, you make a bad decision, you're still going to learn something from that, because you said it's not going to be catastrophic. No one's going to die, or generally speaking, most decisions most things you can recover from. But in that recovery, you're going to end up, when you get back to where you were, you're going to be better off than where you were the first time, because now you've gone through this whole experience. I mean,
But is that your decision-making process as well?
100%, yeah. I just don't fuck around. I don't waste time with decisions. Life is short, and what's the worst thing that can happen? I learned some shit along the way, and you know what? Actually, my life university has been everything I've ever tried, and it hasn't worked. Because for us to figure out what we want, we need to know what we don't want. For us to figure out what works, as in what works for us, we need to discover what doesn't work for us. For us to know who we want to be with, we need to go through all the trials and tribulations and the adventures and horrific stories of figuring out who we don't want to be with. And until you learn all of that, do you really know that you're with the best person? Do you really know you're making the best decisions? Do you really know you're doing the right thing for you if you haven't done all of that work?
I was reading...
In my opinion, I don't.
No, I was reading a couple of Jeff Bezos books, shareholder letters and stuff this summer. And he's massive on experimenting and risk taking, and some substantial risk taking. And one of the things he was talking about was obviously the importance of experimenting, the things to be learned from experimenting, but that by definition, for it to be an experiment, you can't know what the outcome is going to be. If you know what the outcome is going to be, it's not an experiment. And just to, and he talks about one-way doors and two-way doors, and that's what we were talking about the fact that most decisions are reversible in some way. That there's not many decisions in life and business that are one-way doors. When you've gone through it, there's no going back. Most are two-way doors, and you can.
I like that. I've never heard that before.
You can learn and reassess.